you have a question?
Well, I was curious to hear you talk about how you guys gained access to Governor Wallace as well. Clearly, there was some animosity there, I guess, as Yankees.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't, he says, well, you wouldn't understand this. We're honorable here, you probably didn't understand what I'm talking about. Well, you know, that was, I'm not sure how that was done. I didn't do it. I was really kind of focusing my attention on Bobby, and also on Vivian. Vivian to me was just the heroine. And later, after...
I think I know how Dad...
What?
Can I just tell how Dad did it? Because...
did he set up the thing
the governor, my dad is Leacock, and so the governor was avoiding them, being very rude, and Dad apparently finally sort of overtook him in a hallway, and somehow ended up
talked him into it?
Had a meal with him. Like,
oh yeah?
I guess he was going to breakfast or something. He finally sat with him and had a meal, and at the end of it, he allowed it. He didn't really say they could do it, but he didn't throw him out anymore. And that was that.
Yeah, I was never quite sure. I just Ricky I knew was with Katzenbach in that little gym, and then that basement that they were hiding in, kind of, and I wasn't sure how much else he could get to, but you know, we each occupied our little area, and kind of what made it work was we were all filming at the same time, but not that is, each of us was independent of the other ones, and that was simultaneity as only it could happen in this kind of a situation. And it's always interested me, the idea of simultaneity, because it's something that cameras can do in a unique way. It'd be very hard for a fiction film to do it because everything's on the phone. But the fact is that setting up some kind of historical event and having different people at different parts of it is, I mean, you think that's a natural thing to do, and almost you never see it done.
You know, in terms of that simultaneity, you're talking about Leacock eventually matching up the phone calls. Yeah. Such, you know, the magical, crazy moment is when Bobby Kennedy's daughter gets on the phone, and you got it from both sides, and yeah. I'm sure people seeing it for the first time must, you know, I'm sure people were thinking, well, oh, they staged that, or I'm sure that must have gotten huge reaction because it's so utterly charming and wonderful, but it's also so kind of jarring in the middle of this very tense moment. I mean, what did you guys think at the time, or did you must have known that you were covering it from both sides at that moment?
No.
No?
No, nobody knew they were even coming in. I mean, I had breakfast with Bobby every morning, and it's so. I mean, this is what's kind of intriguing to me. It wasn't any problem for him to let Greg and I in there and filming anything we wanted. I mean, it was like, it's such an imposition in a way, but it wasn't for him. He welcomed us. So when she came running over and, you know, he was on the phone, I sort of expected that. I wasn't sure what would happen, but I didn't think twice about it. You know, it was not like she was interrupting anything, and he, you know, he was really great with those kids, just terrific. She was around. I mean, I've seen her less than since we've talked about it, but I never saw her at that day.
How many days were you?
We were down there maybe a week, 10 days in Washington, but it happened. I don't remember where I was thinking about it at the time, and I wasn't paying attention to where I was. But you know, it was interesting to see Vivian again, because after this, I got to be kind of friends with her, because it was a wonderful moment, well, wonderful, an amazing moment when they're talking to her and telling her about, giving her advice on the next day about how she has to behave and wear right. It was kind of embarrassing, and I couldn't help myself but zooming in, and she gave me that funny look. And I knew that we shared this moment somehow. And so later, I got several letters from her later, and she had a horrible time at that university. She was really badly treated. And she's dead now. She died, unfortunately, but I really kind of loved her because she was such a brave and imaginative person. And she went into that, I think more than Jimmy, who just, he felt, you know, that as long as the government was with him, he was safe. Boy, I didn't feel safe in that safe house. All the lights had to be turned out. Cars couldn't go. It was a scary thing, and you think, there are people out there that want to do us damage, you know. And she just never gave into it. I was really very struck by her.
Well, I wish we could keep talking, but unfortunately we have another film screening here in a
Right.
couple minutes. So thank you for being here, and thank you for